We welcome you to Charlotte, North Carolina and West Mecklenburg High School. Since 2001, 12 different teams have won the IWFL World Championship. Here in 2016, we will have team number 13 to win a title, as it's the Minnesota Vixen and the Utah Falcons here in the 2016 IWFL Championship game. How you doing, everybody? Chris Shima, glad to be with you to bring you this match. The East, Minnesota Vixens, 9-0 on the season. The West, the Utah Falcons, 10-0 on the season. Utah returning to this World Championship game for the second straight season. Meanwhile, Minnesota, who can lay claim to be the founders of modern-day tackle football, are making their very first championship visit. A lot of storylines in this game. We have lots to talk about over the next 2.5+ hours that will be together, but right now let's start with a few keys to the game. First, the Minnesota D against that Utah offensive line. Utah, expect to see a heavy dose of the triple option for them, so it's going to be up to that Minnesota D that has really gotten great penetration all season long. Minnesota likes to get into the backfield. There's players on the front line for the Minnesota Vixen, folks. Half of their tackles are for losses this season. So Minnesota, special teams play, always key when you're playing a fast team like Utah. Brown, a good kick returner for the Vixen, 26.0 yards per return. And for the Vixen, that offense has to keep pace with the Falcons to keep the D off the field. Folks, it is hot. It is steamy. It rained for about an hour, and somehow it got hotter. So humidity will be a factor, and Utah will go deep into their roster. Meanwhile, for the Falcons, they've got to use that depth, as I just alluded to a moment ago, and continue to shuffle players to keep those bodies fresh. No problem, says head coach Rick Rasmussen. He gave me a whole list of players who are going to see action today for the Utah Falcons. If you're in Salt Lake and parts surrounding, if you're up there in Minnesota, we'd love to hear from you on Twitter. Be a part of today's championship broadcast by using the hashtag IWFL on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you again. We're going to take a break. We'll sort out the coin toss, and we'll be back with the opening kickoff. It's the World Championship of Women's Football coming up next live on YouTube. We'll be right back, everybody. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you here in Charlotte, North Carolina for this 2016 IWFL World Championship. Wherever you're watching, we always appreciate it. Utah won the toss. They elected to receive. Out to receive the kick for the Falcons. Keisha Cox, we're going to call her name all day long, and Tasha Iono, number 27. So Cox, number 20 on the near side. Iono, number 27 on the far side. Kicking off, Katie Mueller for the Minnesota Vixen. These two undefeated teams ready to do battle here in the championship game. Should be an exciting one. This Vixen defense, they are legit as the Falcons offense. So again, Mueller to kick off. And it's a short kick. Bounces at the 32-yard line, handled by Iono, and she's going to be stopped right there. So 1st and 10. After about a 5-yard pickup, it'll be 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line. Again, triple option for Utah. You will see a lot of shuffling in and out for the Falcons as well, but we can give you some starters. The quarterback, number 13, Louise Bean, highest passer rating in the IWFL. Keisha Cox, highest yards per carry. She's number 20. The other running back, number 5, Veronica Siqueiros. And the fullback, number 21, Lindy Prescard. The receivers, number 18, Elizabeth Lane, and number 26, Lexi Floor. We'll talk about the front line here in a moment. 1st and 10, the handoff, and going up the middle that was Lindy Prescard, the fullback. Hurry up offense now, Bean under center. 2nd down and 3 after that 7-yard pickup. Once again, it's Prescard. Goes right past the defense into the secondary, getting in the Vixen territory. 1st and 10 at the Vixen 38-yard line. Utah going to go quickly. Left tackle A.J. Roby, left guard Susan Widdowson, the center Quinn Wesley, right guard Christy Cook, right tackle Tina Magnum, and the tight end Shannon Gebbia. In motion now is Siqueiros. She's taking it to the left side and dragged down in the backfield for a 2-yard loss, making the play for the Vixen. It's number 40, the cornerback, Ann Thyssen. 2nd down and 12 now, back at the Vixen 40 for Utah. We talked a lot about the run, but quarterback Louise Bean, 61% of her passes she's completed, 723 yards. And off to Keisha Cox. Cox bulldozes to the right side, now cuts back in at the 30-25 and down at the 20-yard line. 20-yard pickup for Keisha Cox, but there is a flag, so hang on. Hi to Cheryl, hi to Rachel, hi to Hannah, and hi to Jared, everybody watching on Twitter. And it looks like that penalty is going to be on Minnesota, so the Falcons obviously decline. This Utah team, the speed. Looks like we've got a split out now on the near side for the Falcons. Abby Buns has come in on the near side, so 2 receivers to each side for Louise Bean. Bean steps back to throw, lofts it on the left side, and just over the fingertips. Intended for Chantel Babcock. So, 2nd down now and 10. Louise Bean, 34 for 56 during the season, 61% completion rate, 17 touchdowns, not 1 pick. Quarterback rating of 144.3, tops in the league. It's a pitch out now on the option. Over on the near side, that's Keisha Cox. Cox to the 10, Cox to the 5, Cox to the end zone. Keisha Cox. First touchdown of the day, her 15th of the season, and Utah goes right down the field on this Minnesota defense. Utah Falcons have Emmy Rainey, who's 6 out of 7 in extra point tries during the season, but they do like to go for 2 frequently as well. How about Keisha Cox? One of the fastest in women's pro football, so it will be Emmy Rainey on for the extra point. Snap good, hold good, kick good as well. 7-0 in favor of Utah after the opening drive in the 2016 IWFL Championship game. We'll take a break, come right back to Charlotte here in a moment. Welcome back to Charlotte, everybody. Folks, we're streaming on an internet card. I've been talking about it all weekend. I've got the quality up a little bit. If you have any buffering issues, just you folks on Twitter can let me know. I will adjust as necessary, but for right now, we're going to keep it as is. And it's an onside kick. Ball still alive. Look out. We saw Utah do this last year in the loss against Pittsburgh. Minnesota was alert. Special teams play by Elizabeth Bain. So a nice play for Minnesota special teams. Let's set the offense now. The quarterback for Minnesota in her first season, Kirsten Hansen, one of the better players in the league. Running backs Casey Godwin, number 22, and number 80, Angela Griffin. The receivers, number 8, Amanda Dvorak, and number 16, Marlissa Brown, will set the front line for the Vixen as soon as possible. Hansen under center, high formation. One receiver to each side. And the handoff's going to go. That's Angela Griffin. Griffin forward for about 4 yards, close to midfield. Stop on the play for the Utah Falcons by Lorette Cooper. Let's try to set the Utah defense. The ends, number 25, Camille Brimall. The tackles, number 49, Hannah Sumanu, and number 55, Megan Morton. The other end on the right side, number 80, Chrissy Merrill. The linebackers, 88, Lorette Cooper. Number 21, Lindy Pressgard. 56, Renica Ais. And number 8, Abby Buns. In the backfield, number 2, Danny Moyes, Jordan Willis, and Emmy Rainey. Another run, and this time that's a stuff right at the line of scrimmage. That was Griffin again, so a team effort tackling-wise there for Utah. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 5 right at midfield. Minnesota Vixen. We talked all about the offense for Utah. Minnesota has 26 first-year players, including their quarterback, Kirsten Hansen. Hansen, 18 touchdowns against 2 interceptions, 42% completion rate, 692 yards. Let's see if she's passing or running. It's a play action. She's rolling to the right now, dumps it off as that goes out of bounds, and the defense holds for Utah, forcing a 3-and-out. So it's punting time for Minnesota. Tank Nelson out to punt. 19 punts, 21 yards per punt. And back deep, I believe, is Emmy Rainey. Doesn't matter, as that's going to go out of bounds. A short kick at the 35-yard line. We will step aside. It's Utah's second offensive series when you come back. 11:53 left to go in the opening quarter of the championship game. 7-0 Falcons. We'll be right back. Utah back on offense. Chris Sheeman back here in Charlotte. The sun has come out. Oh, goody. In motion. It's Keisha Cox. This is going to be a run up the middle. A couple broken tackles. And at the 45-yard line, That was Veronica Siqueiros again. Call the gain of 6, and second down now and 4. Ball at the 45-yard line. Set the Minnesota defense if Utah will let me get a couple of breaths in here. Bean again, out to throw, floats it on the near side and a little bit long. So defensive ends for Minnesota, number 95, Drew Barber, number 18, Madison Smats. The tackles are 96, Cynthia Bryant, number 91, Cynthia Reed. Backers on the outside, 44, Elizabeth Bain. On the inside, 48, Jody Raylander. And 57, Claudia Gorinsky. And on the outside, on the far side, Crystal Nenas. Another run up the middle and another first down. This time it's Lindy Presgard with her third carry. Utah Falcons take it down to the 46 now. In the backfield for Minnesota, 81, Andre Voigt, and 40, Ann Thyssen are the corners. The safety is 19, Aaron Tilford. Again, it's Bean under center. In motion is Keisha Cox. Handoff up the middle. This is Presgard on the right side, and a minimal gain. Crystal Nenas, 21st tackle of the season. Crystal Nenas is the reason Minnesota is here. She made the interception against New York, that run back that was featured on the top 10 plays on SportsCenter. So Crystal Nenas, we'll talk about her quite often today. Second down and long now for the Falcons. Bean will keep it, and she'll make it to about the 41-yard line. That'll set up a third down and medium for the Falcons. And it looks like we have an injured Vixen player, so timeout on this 3rd and 4 play. We'll step aside, come right back. 10:26 to go here in the opening quarter of the 2016 IWFL World Championship. Stay tuned. Hi to Dee Dee watching on Twitter. A lot of folks tweeting out pictures using the hashtag IWFL. I also got some of my girlfriend's family, so I can't say anything mean about my girlfriend during this broadcast or I'll get in trouble. 3rd down and 4. Quick throw over to the far side, intended for Salazar. And that is incomplete. Utah has not punted this season, so I would not expect them to do that here either. Let's see what happens here on this 4th down and 4. Bean under center. And it's going to be a handoff. Keisha Cox runs to the right. Good blocking, cuts it to the outside, able to get the first down and then some, taking it all the way to the Minnesota 32-yard line. And it looks like another Vixen player is down. The ladies have been here since about 3 o'clock. Hydration has been a major issue, obviously, with the weather here. So we're going to see a lot of cramping. There will be quite a few stops, as we've seen over the first few weeks. That's Crystal Nenas, who's being helped off. Hopefully she'll be okay. A big contributor this season. She's one of those 26 new players. I mentioned their quarterback, Kirsten Hansen, is one of the newcomers to the Vixen, as is Nenas, and they have been big reasons why they are in this championship game. So 1st and 10 now for Utah. It's Bean under center again, in motion, Cox, and Bean gets whacked. Number 96, Red Bryant, her 3rd sack of the season. When this Minnesota team can get penetration, it's over, folks. It is absolutely over. Red Bryant has 21 tackles. 10 of them are for losses this season. And she's one of a few players on that front line as a flag comes in here. Like I said, it's for a lot of the front line, about 50% of their tackles are for losses. Drew Barber, who we'll probably see at some point, 16 tackles, 9 for losses. So it was a sideline warning for Utah. Got to let them be a little amped up for the championship game, so they get a warning. Being under center now in the second down and about 13. Handoff Keisha Cox. She'll take it to the near side. Again, great blocking. Cox has room at the 30, 25, 20. Blows past the secondary. 10-5, touchdown. Keisha Cox again. I've got to make a note on my notes. I'm calling it the Keisha Cox touchdown tracker. She's up to 2 now. 9:07 to go here in the opening quarter. My goodness. Hi to Michael, who's watching. He's got no power, but somehow still watching the game, probably on his phone or something. Michael, thanks for being loyal. Again, it's extra point time. Emmy Rainey kicked the first one. It looks like they're going for 2 on this one. It's a different quarterback for the Falcons. And it's going to be a pitch. Keisha Cox for 2. 15-0 Utah. 9:07 left to go here in the first quarter. And it's all Falcons here in the early going. We'll take a break, come back with more of the 2016 IWFL Championship live from Charlotte after this. Folks, we have an injury on the field. While we have that injury, I'm going to stop the broadcast for a moment. I want to lower the quality just a little bit so we can ensure we don't have a lot of broadcast issues, technical issues. So I'm going to go away for about 20 seconds, and I'll come right back. Welcome back, everybody. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. Utah Falcons up 15-0. I believe that's Abby Buns. Emmy Rainey also there. And it's going to be kicked off. Ball bouncing at about the 10-yard line. And the return out to the 25-yard line. That was Lisa Brown with the return. Taken down by Taylor Bolding. So first down and 10 now for Minnesota. Talked about one of the keys to the game. Minnesota has got to find a way to keep their offense on the field here. This is an important moment in the game already, and we're not even halfway through the first quarter. It's only 2 scores, but you don't want to let Utah steal all of the momentum here early and have to play catch-up against this ridiculously fast team. So Hanson under center, triple back set. And the handoff, that's going to go to Angela Griffin, and she is going to be, boy, she stayed alive. lost a yard, but it could have been a lot worse. Jordan Willis in on the tackle, as well as a host of other defenders. It's a team effort for the Falcons here early. Minnesota, this team was established in 1999, the longest continuous operating women's team in history. Last week, or 2 weeks ago, I should say, they played their rivals for the first time since that very first women's game and won on an INT return in overtime. Hansen in the shotgun, had trouble with it, trying to make something out of nothing, and she'll be bumped out of bounds. Laurette Cooper making the play. Hansen really should have threw it there. Instead, she took the loss. And now it's 3rd down and long. Minnesota needs to get to their own 36-yard line. And they're back at their 18, so 3rd and 18 now. Hansen in the shotgun, 3 receivers over on the near side. 1 on the far. Hansen looking on the near side. Here comes the blitz, able to float it up. That pass, juggled and incomplete. Marlissa Brown, the intended target, and Minnesota will have to kick it again. So the Vixen still haven't solved the Falcons' defense yet. Utah, we've talked pretty much about their offense nonstop. They won 6 of their 10 games by shutout. Their 3rd straight season, their 3rd straight undefeated regular season. Their only loss in 3 years was in last year's championship, and they're playing like they remember that. Flags. Looks like Minnesota's going to be backed up further. Trying to see who's back to receive for the Falcons. So a false start. Minnesota backs up 5 yards. That's Siqueiros back to receive for Utah. More whistles. I thought it was Jeannie Nelson back punting, but I don't believe that's who it is for Minnesota. Guy's got a number on that. 27 for Minnesota is Lisa Schomer, so she'll be doing the punting here. Now a flag is down. The officiating for the most part this weekend has been very good. It's the NFL's Women's Academy officials. But I think the Heat's starting to catch up with them. So the original false start stands. It looks like just an inadvertent flag. So there were offsetting penalties there. You folks watching, I don't know where you're watching from, and it really doesn't matter. There are 3 people in the press box who are a lot smarter than me, probably 4. I haven't talked enough to my camera guy to know. But they have been saving my butt. Again, it's Siqueiros who will receive. She's standing at the Minnesota 45. Good penetration. That was almost blocked by Gebbia. And that's going to go out of bounds. A very short field for Minnesota to work with. 7:39 left to go for Utah to work with. And they will go to work when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. The championship game is all Utah right now. Luis Bean under center again. It's a triple option handoff to press guard. Press guard bulldozing forward for a gain of 9. She's right near the first down marker. Might even be able to call it a 10-yard pickup. So Lindy Pressguard on the season. 117 yards rushing. Bean looking to throw in the end zone and a little bit long. It'll be a third down and short, and now a late flag has come in. So let's see what we got going here. Hi to Jared watching his sister, member of the Falcons. That's Brianne Hillhouse, one of the O-line players. Hi, Jared. Also hi to Cheryl, a fan of Kirsten Hansen and Minnesota. So not sure what the flag was. It was on Minnesota. It was a personal foul. So first down and goal now. And that's the last thing you need if you're the Vixen. You do not need to give this team any yards. Stay in your head. Being the pitch. It's going to press guard. Press guard stood up at the 5-yard line.
Number 21 press guard for the carry. Gain of about 1 on the play.
It looked like Jody Raylander had a play in that, had a hit in that for Minnesota. So second and goal now. In motion, Siqueiros. It's press guard up the middle. Press guard scores. Lindy press guard makes it a 3-touchdown deficit already. And that Minnesota sideline looks absolutely shell-shocked right now. Join the club, says Carson and everybody else Utah played this year. So let's see what Utah does here. They've gone for 2 once, kicked the extra point once. Looks like it's going to be Emmy Rainey time. Rainey made the first extra point for the Falcons. And connects on the second. 6:32 left to go in the opening quarter. Utah leading it 22-0. 22-0 for the Utah Falcons here in the opening quarter. Chris Shima, glad to be with you. Want to give a shout out to the folks in Minnesota who did the broadcast of that championship game. Town Square, I believe, media. Also hi to all the media folks who have been covering women's football all season. I've gotten a follow from some of the folks. Really appreciate everybody's contributions. Few more Twitter fans out there. All I could say to you, Beth, is you got a dirty mind, girlfriend. I'm gonna leave it at that. Minnesota looking for some momentum here. The kick return now for the Vixen, taken by Brown, and it's a good one, all the way out to the 43-yard line. You know, you don't want to talk about musts with 6:24 to go in the first quarter. But Minnesota needs momentum here. Their defense has shown zero ability to stop this Utah offense. It's a defense that came in with 6 shutout victories. They allowed 34 points against the Sharks, but during the entire regular season, they allowed a total of 13 points. That's for the season. Hanson, handoff goes to Angela Griffin, and it's a gain of about 4. Making the tackle was for Utah. Let's get the check on the name. It's Renica Ais. So Renica Ais with her first tackle of this game. She's from Hawaii. A lot of players from out of state for Utah, and players from all over the country coming to play for the Falcons. Hanson under center. The handoff to Godwin, and Godwin dragged all the way back to the 40. Making the play for the Falcons, Danielle Music. 18 tackles during the season. Make it 19 as she picks up her first here in the championship game.
Third down and 13.
Third down now, and they're going to call it 13 yards for Minnesota, who will likely throw it here. Marlissa Brown, the receiver on the near side of your screen. Bunch receivers on the far side. Hanson in the shotgun. Utah showing blitz. And it's a slant off the fingertips of Brown, incomplete. So there's a flag. Hang on a second. It's in the backfield, and it's in that area that leads me to believe could be a late hit on the quarterback. Let's see. It is. Roughing the passer. So Utah with their first mistake of the evening, and Minnesota keeps the football, now moving into Falcons territory at the 45-yard line. Chris Shima, glad to be with you here in Charlotte. The IWFL Championship weekend wrapping up here. It did rain, as I mentioned earlier in the broadcast, for about 45 minutes. And again, somehow it got hotter. Hanson, I formation now. First down. Handoff, that goes to Griffin, and Griffin fighting her way for a couple of yards, and I mean fighting. She earned every bit of that.
Run by number 80, Angela Griffin. Tackled at the line of scrimmage by number 45, Camille.
Making the stop for Utah on that play was Camille Brimhall, player from West Point, Utah. Angela Griffin on the season only had 4 carries. She's gotten a bulk of the work for the Vixen. I'm wondering if there's an injury or something, because she did not get this much work in the regular season. The receiver in motion is Atkins. It's a pitch to the receiver, Marlissa Brown, who takes it to the Utah 39-yard line. And it'll set up a third manageable.
16, Lisa Brown. Tackle on the play by number 10, Sarah.
Stop on the play for the Falcons, Sarah Galicia, who I believe is from the Netherlands. Utah fans on Twitter can tell me if I'm wrong. I think that's what NL means. Harleen in the Netherlands, I'm guessing. Hanson in the shotgun now on 3rd and short. And we got movement here. On that far side, was it Courtney Gibson-Thomas who jumped first? I don't know if we got it on the broadcast, but one of the tents on the Vixen sideline took off during this drive, and luckily everybody's okay. So it is a false start as Gibson-Thomas jumped. Talked about the Minnesota Vixen being the very first women's team to start up. They're not the first historically, but they're the first here in the modern era, established in 1999. Michelle Braun, Cynthia Bryant are both still active, and they played in that very first game against New York. Hanson third down, excuse me. The pitch goes to Brown. Brown around one defender, tries to bulldoze her way, and it looks like she's going to be very close to that first down marker.
Tackle on the play by number 6, Sam Taylor.
Making the stop, Lexi Floor for Utah. Utah's gone deep into their defense, as we assume they would. So it's going to be short, 4th down and inches at the Utah 35. Minnesota can keep this drive going. Got a tweet from the folks at Easy Football Rankings saying Utah's a heavy favorite. 50-7 Utah, according to their rankings. The question is for those guys is, can Brent Musburger bet on this game? Because he likes to do that. So it looks like they're going to give them the first down now after talking it over. So it was enough for a first down. Late in the first quarter here, 2:40 and counting. Minnesota on a drive. Hanson under center now for the Vixen. The handoff. Again, that's Griffin. And stood up right at the line of scrimmage. May have even lost a few inches. In on the play, Danielle Music for the second time.
Run on the play by number 34, Jeannie Nelson.
Correction, that was Jeannie Nelson with the run for the Vixen. Vixen's leading rusher. Well, it's been a balanced attack, but Marquita Shannon, number 26, had 382 yards. We have not seen her listed. Hanson in the shotgun, 2nd down and about 10. 3 receivers on the near side. Hanson looking to throw. Throwing on the near side and almost picked off. Over on the near side for Utah, it's Galicia making a play on it.
Pass intended for number 25, Bia Lee. Incomplete. 3rd down and 10.
Hi as well to Tom and Jess watching in Minnesota. Rooting on Kenzie Anderson. Got a lot of folks tweeting at us on Twitter using the hashtag IWFL. By the way, you can use that hashtag on your favorite social media if you want to chat with other fans. It's just I've got about 5 things to do at the same time, so I can only keep track of Twitter, but doesn't mean you all can't have your own conversation without me. According to some people, it might even be better and more entertaining. Hanson in the shotgun, empty backfield now. Directing traffic over on the near side. It's 3 receivers on the far side, and Utah can't wait to get into the backfield. Showing blitz, now they back off. Hanson throws down the middle. It's caught. That's Brown on the far side. Brown evades the defender, and she takes it to the house.
Number 16, Lisa Brown for the touchdown for the Vixen.
Marlissa Brown. Terrific play as Hanson with another touchdown pass on the season. That is her 19th now. And Minnesota gets on the board here. A very important drive for Vixen fans. Extra point opportunity. Katie Mueller, 21 out of 28, attempting extra points during the regular season. Holding for her is Mackenzie Anderson. And we have flags. So hang on. The highest temperature we saw today was 94 degrees. False start's going to back up Minnesota 5 yards. They said it would get as high as 97. I drove around for about 30 minutes in my car, and it did not cool down. Blasting the air conditioner. It's just miserable here. Katie Mueller again. And that is a bad snap. So the extra point no good, but Minnesota gets on the board. 1:25 to go in the opening quarter. 22-6. Utah will have the football when we come back. Those are all the folks I was talking about who are much smarter than me here in the press box, and that's my best attempt at a duck face. Just idiotic, the things we do here, but we're having fun here at the IWFL Championship. That's from last night. Dana's right underneath me. Anybody in women's football probably knows Dana, one of the most positive people I've ever met in my life. So positive, it's almost unbelievable. Like, you almost think at night she just goes in her car and screams for an hour. But wonderful help and a wonderful person to be around all weekend long. She's one of those New York Sharks players who played in that first game against Minnesota. Kickoff now. Bounces at the 33-yard line. It's taken by Keisha Cox to the 40. Cuts back up the middle, 45. And finally taken down near midfield, their marker at the 49-yard line. Stop on the play for the Vixen by Aaron Tilford, a special teams play for one of the starting safeties. Looks like we have a player down for Minnesota, folks, so we will step aside. 1:16 to go here in this opening quarter. It's the IWFL Championship. Don't go too far. Welcome back, everybody. 1st and 10 at or near midfield for the Utah Falcons. The handoff, it's Lindy Presgard to the 40, and she'll be dragged down at the 39-yard line. Pickup of 12 and a first down. It's Aaron Tilford making the tackle again. Utah likes to go quickly. It's a no huddle. In motion, Keisha Cox. It's an option pitch to her. Keisha Cox evading one tackle, taking it to the 35-30, and she'll be hit out of bounds, and a flag comes in late after Cox, I believe, picked up the first down at the 29-yard line. Let's check the flag here. It looks like it's going to be a late hit on Crystal Nenas. Utah Falcons playing around the Salt Lake City area.
Calls personal foul on the defense.
So it is a personal foul on the Vixen, and again, you just cannot give Utah these kind of yards. You just can't do that and expect to stay in this game. 45 seconds left to work with here in the opening quarter. Again, Bean under center. In motion, Keisha Cox. And Bean somehow got that away. What a tricky play that was. Handed off to Presgard. And she takes it for a gain of 9. Making the stop, Elizabeth Bain. So they're going to mark it back at the 8-yard line. So it's actually 2nd and 2, not 2nd and 1. Again, Bean under center. The handoff, nope, Bean's going to keep it. Picks up the first down and a couple more for insurance to the 4-yard line. First and goal for the Falcons. Tackle on that play, Madison Schmatz. Schmatz is one of those players I told you about. When she's able to get into the backfield, it's good night nurse. 19 tackles, 13 for loss. 8.5 sacks as well. The first quarter comes to an end. Utah 22, Minnesota 6. You're watching the 2016 IWFL World Championship. We'll be back with the second quarter after this. Just about start of the second quarter now for Minnesota. They trail 22-6. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you here in Charlotte. Hot, muggy, miserable Charlotte. Got to say hi to Cody. Some more Minnesota fans. Janella as well. So Minnesota defense trying to hold off, again, this Falcons attack. First down and goal. Bean. Bean's going to keep it, and Bean will score. Touchdown number 4 of the game for Utah. So Keisha Cox has scored 2. Lindy Prescott has scored 1. Louise Bean gets in on the action. 28-6 now. So far they've alternated extra points and 2-point tries. So let's see if they go for 2 here. Looks like that's what's going to happen. Under center and rolling to the left for Utah, and getting stopped is Liz Lane. So the extra point no good, just underway in the second quarter. Utah 28-6 here in the championship game. We'll step aside, come back, see if Minnesota can put more points on the board. Welcome back, everybody. It'll be Emmy Rainey to kick off for the Falcons, who score again, 28-6, Utah. Correction, that's not Rainey who takes the kick. It's Taylor Bolding who kicks it off. It's handled by Marlissa Brown, who evades one tackler. Nifty moves by Brown to take it to the 30. Flag is down. 2 flags are down, as she's finally stopped at the 33. But let's check these flags.
Flag on the play.
Minnesota Vixen, as I mentioned, established in 1999. They've been a member of this league since 2009. This is their 7th playoff appearance since 1999, 3rd since joining the IWFL. Last championship appearance was in the now defunct WPFL. They lost to New York in 2005. The flag is still down.
Personal foul on the defense.
And it looks like it's going to be a personal foul on Utah.
Automatic first down.
So that will give Minnesota better field position. As I mentioned, if you're just joining us, Minnesota, 26 first-year players this season. And many of those have turned the Vixen into contenders. The quarterback Hansen, Nenas, among many others. Then you have linebacker Jody Moose Raylander, who's played for 16 years. Michelle Brown for 18. Red Bryant, 18. So it's a good mix. Hansen, a fumble on the play. Flags are down. It looks like Utah jumped on the football, but there are flags. And it looks like they're going to, I'm hearing Utah might have jumped. So they, I believe, did get the football, but let's hold our horses here momentarily. So this might be the second straight penalty on Utah now. So they call it encroachment, not offsides.
5-yard penalty.
And that means it'll be first down and 5. I don't. The officials in today's game, as I mentioned just briefly, a part of the NFL's academy. They are all female. Talk about the players on the field. It's hot for everybody. The officials, too, out on the field. It's just, it's rough. So they're going to mark it up 5 yards now. And that'll move the ball into Utah territory. It'll be first down and 5 now at the Utah 47-yard line. Kirsten Hansen, 692 yards through the air, 93.4 quarterback rating. High formation now for the Vixen. Hansen will hand it off. That's number 80, Angela Griffin again. And again, she's not able to get much. And another flag comes in.
Number 80, Angela Griffin on the run.
2 flags have come in now.
Flag on the play.
It looks like another personal foul on Utah. And Utah's personal fouls are helping sustain this drive for the Vixen right now. Hi to Jim. They're over at Break Sports Grill. Give them a shout out over there in Salt Lake, I assume, or near Salt Lake. Also hi to Emily. And Thomas wants a shout out to Jake and the family in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. So there you go. So it's a personal foul on the offense. So back this way we go now. Well, you can kind of tell by the body language that things are getting a little chippy down there, and the officials are going to get control of this. Certainly you don't want to see anything but good football here in a championship game. It's also a loss of down, by the way, so it's second down now. And let's see if I can do the math. It's going to be second down and 20. Minnesota back at their own 39-yard line now in I formation. Again, double receivers. I believe it's Amanda Dvorak on the near side. Hansen looking on the far side, and that pass comes up short. Now another late flag comes in. Looks like that's going to be pass interference over on that far side. Emmy Rainey. So the flow of the game has certainly stalled here in the second quarter as we've yet to go a full minute in. Coming up at halftime, we will take a short break. Laurie Frederick, president of the IWFL, will join us as well, we assume. So did they pick up the flag? Did they say the pass was uncatchable? No, they didn't make the call finally.
Pass interference on the defense. Still first down.
So an automatic first down, and the ball back in Utah's territory now. Penalties are making this look like a ping pong game here. Hansen now in the shotgun, double receivers to each side of her. The lone back is Griffin. Griffin with an important block there, and that pass is tipped by Jordan Willis.
Second down and 10.
That'll bring up a second down and 10 now. So we mentioned what's going down at halftime, postgame. Whoever wins will have the full presentation. I had hoped, if things were a little bit different, that we would be able to bring a player up here. I doubt that's going to be possible. We tried to do that last year, and everybody was just partying too much. So, but we will bring you the postgame, and we will hear from the winning team. That will be after we're done here. Again, shotgun for Hansen. Same formation. Now coming in motion into the backfield is Casey Godwin. It's a handoff up the middle, and Griffin takes it down to the 41-yard line, but more flags.
Number 80, Angela Griffin on the carry. Tackled by number 56, Renica Aisi. Flag on the play.
So illegal motion on the offense is going to back us up again. Again, ping pong penalty here in the second quarter. So Minnesota now at its own 49-yard line. And a second down and 15 to go. Minnesota spending a lot of time in the huddle here. Hansen waving her arms to the bench, and it looks like we're going to get a Minnesota timeout. 13:29 in a slow-moving second quarter. We will take a break. Minnesota driving with a second and 15 when we come back. So 2nd down and 15. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you here. The IWFL Championship game. Ball at the Vixen 49-yard line. Play action now. Hansen facing some pressure. Penetrating is Robertson. Hansen able to get it away and floats it up into nowhere, out of bounds. That'll bring up a 3rd and long. Mentioned at the top of the broadcast, since 2001, 12 different teams have won the IWFL World Championship. Neither one of these teams has won, so it'll be 13 after tonight is over. The team with the most titles, Sacramento, they won 3 in a row. All 3 of them came 2003 to 2005, but a lot of parity in the league. Pittsburgh won last year over these Utah Falcons. Like I said in the opening quarter, the Falcons are playing with that same bad taste in their mouth. Minnesota has calmed things down, though. Both teams have had a ton of penalties. 5 receivers set now for Hansen, empty backfield. Hansen looking on the far side, floats it, it's caught again, Marissa Brown. And Brown connects on, it's going to be at the 37-yard line. And I believe that's going to be a little bit short. So it's 4th down and 1. Credit Lisa Brown, though. She did all she could to try to drag closer. She knew exactly where she was. A heads-up play. Tasha Iono, an extra corner coming in now. She's actually going to play in the safety spot for the Utah defense here. And it looks like we're going to get another stoppage. Timeout, Utah. 12:33 left to go in the first half. We will have a very important 4th and 1 when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. Hi to Deb, a Vixen fan. Also, hi to Leah Hanna. I hope I get that right. See you, Manu. Who's watching Hannah? See you, Manu. And the Utah Falcons. Everybody on Twitter chatting us up, being a part of the action. So 4th down and 1 now for the Vixen. Trying to keep this drive going. And it's a fake punt and a 1st down. I believe that's what I would call that. And a nice run all the way to the 32-yard line. Try to get you a number on that here in a second. It was Tank Nelson with the run. So the punter lined up to kick it. I don't think anybody thought she would, but still a good 4th down play for Minnesota. Now their drive continues on into the Falcons' 32-yard line. Utah Falcons, their 3rd season, as I mentioned. Their only loss was in last year's championship game. This is their 2nd season in this league, in the IWFL. Hansen in the shotgun. Angela Griffin, the running back, to her left. 3 receivers to the near side. Handoff goes to Griffin. Takes it to the 30 and able to pick up a couple of more yards down to the 28, but we have another flag. It has been a flag-filled 2nd quarter. So
false start on the Falcons, 5 yards.
It looks like an infraction on the defense, a 5-yard penalty. So they were offside again. So Minnesota benefits now with the 1st and 5. And instead of the ball being at Utah's 32, it's now at Utah's 27. Hansen again in the shotgun. Bunched receivers over on the far side. It's going to be a keeper for Hansen. And Hansen, wow, she got popped near the 1st down marker. That was a big hit. Speak of the devil, there's Hannah Siamanu with the big hit. The folks back in Utah will like that. 2nd down and 1, though, after a 4-yard pickup. Hansen came in, as I mentioned. She could run the football 100 yards on 45 attempts, so not a high average, but she is a threat. Just inside 11 minutes to go here in this opening half. It's a long drive from Minnesota, not time-wise, but in real time. Hansen's going to hand it off. Angela Griffin turns up to the middle, has the 1st down after a gain of 3, down to 20. For Utah was Camille Brimhall. We've called her name quite often here this evening. Just past 7 o'clock here in the East Coast. 10:25 and counting left to go here in this opening half. It's the 2016 IWFL Championship game. Over on the far side, Marlissa Brown. Amanda Dvorak with 2 slot receivers on the near side. Here's Hansen. And a handoff goes to Griffin, and the defense was ready. A gain of a minimal gain, if that. That front line for Utah has played well, and that was Taylor Bolding. Taylor Bolding leads the team with 4.5 sacks and 8 tackles for losses. She's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So she grew up knowing football, I guarantee. I was in Alabama once on a college Saturday, and I had the entire freeway to myself. 2nd down, and we'll call it 9 now. The handoff again, Griffin. With some good blocking, stood up at the 16-yard line. Kind of pushing and shoving underneath there. Good physical play for Angela Griffin that time. It's like Griffin and Godwin are going to come out, so expect to see a spread set here for Minnesota with both running backs going to the bench. So it's 3rd down now at the 16-yard line. Call it 3rd down and 4. It's not spread. Schomer, the tight end, in motion to the left side. And they're going to try to run it, and Utah was ready. The run by number 44, Elizabeth Bain, it goes nowhere. In fact, it loses a couple of yards. That was Taylor Bolding again. 4th and 7 now for Minnesota. Nearing the midway point of this 2nd quarter. This has given Minnesota's defense some rest, which is much needed, but Minnesota would like to convert here. Hansen rolling to the left, evades one tackler, but not the second, as she's taken down. Guess who? Number 70, Taylor Bolding. And the Falcons will get it back. 1st and 10 for Utah when we come back. Just about halfway through the 2nd quarter. It's Falcons football. They lead it by 22. We'll be right back. Utah raring to go here. As they're back out on the field, Chris Shima, glad to be back with you. Louise Bean under center. Peyton Manning-esque the way she directs the offense. On the option, Bean will keep it, and a gain of about 3 up to the 19-yard line. That was outside linebacker Elizabeth Bain making the stop. It's a triple option for Utah. Louise Bean, we talked about her passing. Top-rated quarterback in the IWFL, 144.3 rating. I think Kurt Warner, when he had that great year in St. Louis, had 122 rating. Now the pitch, Keisha Cox in the backfield. Gets around one defender to the 20, 25, 30, and she'll step out of bounds. After picking up yet another big gain, they'll mark her at the 32-yard line. Keisha Cox came in averaging 23.8 yards per rush. That's first in the league by a lot. By double, I think, the second place rusher. Bad snap there. Bean, I think, came up with it. So, alert play defensively there by Cynthia Bryant. Lindy Prescott was the one who came up with it.
Loss of 2 on the play, second down and 12.
We've talked about all the rookies. I mentioned there's a lot of veterans on this team as well. Cynthia Bryant, one of those, her 18th season. Here's Prescott. And Prescott does not get much. Takes it out to the 35-yard line. About a 4 or 5 yard pickup, and that'll bring up 3rd down and 6.
On the tackle. Gain of about 5 on the play.
Claudia Gorinsky making the play. One of those first-year players I mentioned. Louise Bean on this 3rd down. The Keisha Cox. Give it to the moneymaker, ladies, to the 40-45. And close to midfield, Keisha Cox goes out of bounds at the 47-yard line.
First down for the Falcons.
Are the Olympic trials over yet? Can we get Keisha Cox in the track and field? A lot of these players, when we talk about women's football, as Cox goes in motion here on 1st down, it's handed off to Siqueiros, and she breaks through to the secondary. 35, 30, down to the 20, and she'll be stood up inside the Vixen 20-yard line, marked down at the 19. Making the stop, Aaron Tilford. A lot of these women's football players are former track athletes. They really run the gambit. Some never played anything in college. Some were very athletic. We've seen basketball players in the IWFL, track and field stars in the IWFL. So it's not like they're learning to be athletes. They're learning to be football players. And last year, we got a tweet from some of the folks in Utah who are helping young women. And that's really when you'll start to see this game take off, is now the development is starting to take place at younger levels. Here's the pitch. It's Iono. Stood up, or taken down, I should say, at the 14-yard line. Tasha Iono from Sacramento, California. Tilford again making the stop. Iono will come out. Coming back in is Siqueiros. 4:34 left to go here in the championship's 2nd quarter. The pitch. That's going to be taken by Keisha Cox to the 10-5. Touchdown. Keisha Cox has the touchdown trifecta in the first half. And Minnesota continuing to pile it on now. It's 34-6. As you see some of the Falcons fans who made the long journey here to North Carolina celebrate. They're sitting right on our side, so you can hear them a little bit louder than you can the folks from Minnesota who are across the way. But it's like extra point this time. So far, Emmy Rainey is 2 for 2. The kicker from Fort Knox, Kentucky. Bad snap, and that kick is blocked. Good special teams play there by the Vixen, but they got some work to do here in this championship. They trail Utah 34-6. We'll have the kickoff coming up here shortly. $34-0 in favor, or 34-6 in favor of Utah. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you here at the championship game. Charlotte, North Carolina. Last temperature check I had was 89 degrees. You can add probably 20 degrees to whatever it is down on the field there. It's still at 89 right now. Kickoff, and that is a good one. That's a live football. Brown's got to pick it up. Brown able to make something out of that, but she almost made a huge error. Able to take it out to the 16-yard line, but poor special teams there by Minnesota, and they'll be backed up. We saw that in the first game, I think it was, the affiliate ball, but Brown's a better player than that. So it's at about the 15.5 now for Minnesota. Vixen's quarterback, Kirsten Hansen, 5th in the league with 692 passing yards and 2nd with 18 touchdowns. So they've got the air attack to get back, but they've really got to keep it going here. They're going to run with Angela Griffin again, and that's a pickup of about 3 out to the 20-yard line. And again, that's fine. You need sustained drives, but at this point at 34-6, Minnesota's got to start thinking big plays here. It's time to take shots. Again, coming up at halftime, our interview with IWFL President and CEO Lori Frederick. So stick around for that. Hansen in the shotgun. Drops back, looking to throw. Open receiver over the middle. Dvorak makes her first catch of the evening and has herself and the Vixen a first down. Dvorak on the season, 13 catches during the regular season, 236 yards, 18.2 yards per catch. She's on the board here in the championship now. 3:14 and counting to go here in this opening half. Looks like Dvorak's going to come out now after making that catch. Bea Lee, I believe, is the slot receiver. On the near side, Hansen looking to throw. Completes it to Griffin. Griffin takes it to the 30, and she's going to be stood up by about 5 defenders. Shannon Gebbia was there. Michaela Minix was there. Half the defense was there. So after a 2-yard pickup, it'll be 2nd down now and 8. Looks like Griffin's going to head to the bench. As we approach the 2-minute warning here, it looks like the Vixen are going to let it run. No, they're going to run a play. So we'll run a play, and then we'll have the 2-minute warning. As Hanson in the shotgun, bunched receivers to the near side, 2 spread out to the far. It's a catch by number 4. That's Amanda Atkins, and she got walloped. A big hit by Alicia Salazar, one of the local products from Salt Lake City. That is 3rd and 11 now after a 3-yard loss, as that brings us to the 2-minute warning. 1:40 left to go in the opening half. All Falcons right now. Minnesota trying for a late drive to get some momentum. We'll be right back. Third down and 11 for Minnesota, trying to keep this drive alive and not have to give it back to the Falcons, who they've been unable to stop so far today. Hanson in the shotgun. Quick pass goes to the near side. That's caught by Tilford, who got some blocking but will come up shy of the 1st down. They're going to spot her at the 34-yard line. Does Utah call timeout here? Clock continuing to move on 4th down. This is those kind of chess matches that you love to see here, because Minnesota's obviously going to run some clock here, thinking about going for it. But if they go for it, they don't want to leave Utah with too much time. Does Utah call timeout? If they call timeout, that benefits Minnesota. The things I'm glad I don't have to worry about. Well, it looks like Minnesota's content to run it all the way down, and then they'll call timeout. That appears to be the game plan here. And I assume we'll see a punt. So we'll see. Timeout, 42 seconds left to go. We're coming right back. Welcome back, everybody. 4th down now. Minnesota will kick, as we talked about. And the punt, a wobbler over to the near side again by Schomer. And a pretty good one that will go out of bounds at the 37-yard line. Well, 37 seconds is plenty of time for Utah. That's about 4 or 5 minutes in normal team speed for these Falcons. So let's see what they try to do here. It's 34-6. You don't want to get too careless. At the same time, you've got Keisha Cox I don't know. I think Utah has called one timeout, guys. I think they have at least one. So they do have one? Okay. And again, we haven't seen it yet. Starting quarterback Luis Bean can put it in the air if need be. Chile's going to try here on this first down, and that pass a little bit off the mark. I believe it was Siqueiros who was the intended receiver. So 33 seconds left to go. Second down and 10 now. And now what do we got? We got some whistles here. Again, coming up at halftime, El Presidente joins us. IWFL President and CEO Lori Frederick. She's actually sitting right next to me. So as soon as this half comes to an end, we'll chat with her for a few minutes about the league. Bean now floats it up on the near side and just overshot the receiver, Lexi Floor. That'll bring up a third down now with 28 seconds left to go. Let's see if Utah just doesn't try to run it out here. So far, Bean's been throwing here on this drive. Keisha Cox running to the left, 35-40, 45-50, 45-40, and finally taken out of bounds close to the, well, let's see where they're going to mark her. They're going to mark her at the 40 of the Vixen with 19 seconds. Emmy Rainey is Utah's kicker. She has not attempted a field goal this season. She has connected on 2 out of 3 extra point tries here in the championship game. He's sprinting off of the field for Utah was number 18. That's Elizabeth Lane, able to get off the field in time. Bean again with 17 seconds, and a diving, no, incomplete pass. That was Lexi Floor, the intended target. So second down, 14 seconds left to work with. Bean under center, one receiver to each side. Bean again throwing, again looking for Floor, overshot her, and it'll be another third down with 10 seconds left. Head coach of the Falcons, Rick Musin, the offensive coordinator, Kyle Rasmussen, and the defense, Michael Ramos. For Minnesota, it's Brandon Palinka. He also coaches the offense. The defense in charge by Damon Topping. It's third down and 10. Keisha Cox in the backfield facing some pressure, and she's not going to get much. That was a great job by Vixen's linebacker, Claudia Gorinsky, to stay with her. 3 seconds left, fourth down, and Utah might just try to throw it as far as they can and see what happens. Looks like we have another timeout here. A couple of players for Minnesota. Looks like they're going to bring out the water bottles. Again, it's one of those hot, steamy days here in Charlotte, and are we still in July? Yeah, in July, so. Ladies trying to stay hydrated out there. Mentioned it in our first broadcast. What did Buddy Ryan, now the late, isn't that weird to say, the late Buddy Ryan, say? He used to feed the Philadelphia Eagles pickle juice to stay hydrated. Sounds yummy. So fourth down and 11 now. This will likely be the final play of the half. And more whistles. Another, now a timeout by Utah. It's been that kind of a second quarter. So Utah calls for time with 3 ticks on the clock. Recap just a little bit. The first 2 touchdowns for Utah belonged to Keisha Cox. Then Prescott got on the board with the touchdown run. The fullback, Louise Bean, ran one in, the quarterback for a touchdown. And then Keisha Cox again with a score. Minnesota offense, Kirsten Hansen connected with Marlissa Brown for the game's lone touchdown for the Vixen. The Vixen, they've been around since 1999. I mentioned it, the longest continuously operating team. What a great conference championship that was 2 weeks ago. Again, the folks at Town Square Media, I believe that's the right, the folks up in Minnesota did a great job with that broadcast. I caught the end of that one, and Crystal Nenas running that back to get the Vixen into this one. But it's been all Utah so far, as Bean will take the field now and throw one more deep and overshot the receiver. And the half comes to an end, 34-6 for Utah. The Falcons take a big lead into the locker room. Well, as I mentioned, we're going to talk with Lori Frederick now, the president and CEO of the IWFL. Let's just take a quick break. There we are. Guys, if we can just move back for us so we can get a look at Lori while we do this halftime interview. All right, Lori, just a little equipment adjustment. Thank you for joining us. Lori?
Thank you. Good to be here.
Tell us a little bit about how the year has gone for the IWFL.
You know, it's been a pretty exciting year. We have a lot of teams that are new to the playoffs, new to the postseason, and a lot of teams returning. A lot of teams that haven't been there in a while. For example, the Minnesota Vixen. They've had a long road back here, and it's pretty neat to see how the lineup changes from year to year in the postseason.
Let's go back. We'll talk about the first couple of teams first. I was really impressed with Maine. They looked very good. They looked like they're going to be moving up very shortly. Just give the general fan a little bit of an overview on how you go, okay, you're an affiliate team. How do you move up? What's that process?
The affiliate teams are, you know, they're often teams that are just starting. There might be teams in their first year. They also could be teams that just have to have a rebuilding year. The one thing about women's football is sometimes, you know, they'll have a group of players all retire at the same time. Maybe they're in an area with a lot of military, you know, or something like that. So Maine is an affiliate team because they actually were rebuilding, and they seem to have rebuilt quite successfully.
Right. Yeah. Don't want to take much away from Knoxville. I know there have been teams in Knoxville before, and I know a lot of the fans there are glad to see the team back.
Absolutely. You know, Knoxville, it's a pleasure to have them in the league. While they are a first-year team, they have quite a few veteran players. And I know the score didn't represent their talent on the field. They certainly did not leave anything on the field, and we look forward to having them back on this field next year.
Let's turn our attention. We'll skip ahead to today's game. You've got, I set it up this way. I said, you know, you've got the upstart, the Utah Falcons. They're back for their third year, second in this league, and second time in the championship. Then you've got Minnesota. What has that parity been like?
You know, it's been really interesting having, you know, Utah, which is still a new team. You know, they're only a few years old, facing off against Minnesota, which is our longest running team, and women's football longest running team. So it really is a very interesting matchup to see how they're playing out against each other.
I'm surprised when I found this stat since 2001. 12 different teams have won this championship. Whoever wins this one, right now Utah's looking pretty good, will be the 13th. What does that say about the competitiveness of your league?
Well, it says, you know, is you really know you don't know what's going to happen from year to year. Things do change dramatically. So it's something that makes the IWFL pretty exciting and a little different from what you see in some other professional leagues, since we have such a fluid environment as far as players retiring and moving on in one form or another. You don't know what's going to happen from year to year. So it makes it pretty cool, pretty exciting.
What needs to happen with women's football in general to get more into the mainstream? I mean, I tell people all the time, this is the biggest event that I do. You know, we've got a few people watching this right now, enjoying the telecast, but at the same time, I know money is always nice. Sponsorship would be nice as well. But what else does women's football, you know, we talked about the academies, the young ladies who are starting to learn football, I assume will help, but what else needs to happen?
It's just repetition. And I say that, of course, after 16 years, you might think that we've had plenty of repetition, but we certainly haven't been around for hundreds of years like many other professional leagues have been. So it's just a matter of repetition and, great folks like you giving us the coverage that we need. We're out there pounding the pavement, making the phone calls to all that we can as far as the media outlets, and it's just a matter of keeping at it and just keep plugging away to get the word out there.
All right, I think we're going to get a little background noise, so I want to let you go. But before I do, what's coming up for next year? Any big announcements?
We do have a couple new teams. Actually, the IWFL is proud to be going back into the Florida market. We're announcing a new team, the Tampa Bay Rain, led by Ella Coffey, who is a veteran player. We also have the North Florida Pumas out of Jacksonville, led by Jody Granger. Both of these ladies have extensive business and community experience, so we're really excited to be back into the Florida market. I do also want to take this opportunity to thank our local host committee, made up of Ebony Kimbrough, Dana Sparling, Tanya Bryan, Jordan White, Tiffany Matthews, Maria Orman, and Carla Snapphauser. They've done a tremendous job hosting for us here, and I really do want to give them our heartfelt thanks for what they're doing here.
That's my second year working with Dana, and I told people on the broadcast she's just incredible. I want to give her a big hug every time I see her. She's wonderful. So thanks to them. Thanks to you as well for having me back. It's Lori Frederick, everybody, the president and CEO of the IWFL. Thanks again, Lori.
Thanks a lot, Chris. Thank you very much.
Best of luck in the off-season. I know things are growing, as you mentioned, and continued success. Folks, we're going to go away for a few minutes, about 11 minutes. We'll bring you the second half. Right now, it's 34-6 in favor of Utah. You're watching the 2016 IWFL Championship game from Charlotte. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you here in Charlotte. Second half action, third quarter about to get underway, as it is underway with the kickoff by the Falcons, taken by number 70, Taylor Bolding, and it's going to stay in bounds. So picking it up, Marlissa Brown takes it to the 20, now cuts it to the outside at the 25, tripped up at the 27, and she'll be marked at the 29. Trip up on the play, special teams tackle.
Number 16, Lisa Brown.
On that play,
Tackled by
it was Sam Taylor. Chris Shima, glad to be back with you here in Charlotte, North Carolina. Again, feel free to chat us up. Heard from a few people at halftime, Robin and Nicolette on Twitter. You can use that hashtag IWFL. Use it on all the social medias. So just underway here in quarter number 3. Minnesota with a lot of work to do. Receiver out on the far side, Dvorak. On the near side, it's Brown. I formation for the Vixen. 1st and 10 at their own 29-yard line. The pitch. It's taken by number 44. That's Elizabeth Bain, who rushes for a gain of 5 out to the 34-yard line. We have not seen much from Casey Godwin, who we thought was going to start this game. And she did start the game. We just haven't seen much from her for Minnesota. So Bain staying in the backfield. Second down and 5 now. In motion is Brown. Fake to her. Brown with a good block to give Hanson time. Time running out now, looking to go back to Brown. And it's over her head. That'll bring up now a 3rd down and 5, but hang on here, we have a flag. Did they hit Hanson late is the question. Utah's committed quite a few penalties. That's, I guess if you wanted to say something critical about them, that would be it. But Minnesota's going backwards, so I believe it's gonna. This infraction is on them. It was a penalty-filled second quarter, personal foul on Utah. And so it was roughing the passer on Utah. We were right about that. And then a push in the back by Minnesota. So the penalty's offset. Forget all that happened. Let's do 2nd down and 5. Hanson now under center in the I formation. The handoff, again, that's 44, Bain. Bain takes it ahead for a gain of a couple. Now to the 37-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and short for Minnesota. Ais making the play, the linebacker, middle linebacker for Utah. So Bain, Hanson in the backfield. Brown and Dvorak, the receivers. Schomer, the tight end. Gibson Thomas, the left tackle. McLean, the left guard. Center is Mike Meyer. The right guard is Martin, and the right tackle, Suddeth. That's the offense for Minnesota on the field. Tight end lined up near us now here on this 3rd and short. And the handoff is not going to be enough for a 1st down. That was Bain again. Making the play for the Falcons defense was Ais again. And it looks like Minnesota will kick it here. Both of these teams came in undefeated. Minnesota 9-0, and the Falcons 10-0. The Falcons have had some big blowouts. They scored over 80 points twice this season. They scored over 70 points 4 times this season. And they have 34 here in the championship game. Again, I believe it's Schomer who's going to kick this now. And she's going to kick it. It's going to take a Utah bounce, and Utah will have it in Minnesota territory when we come back. It'll be 1st and 10 at the 46-yard line for the Falcons. 12:20 left to go here in the third quarter. Falcons on a roll. We'll come back. First and 10 for Utah at the Minnesota 47-yard line. Luis Bean again under center, sending Siqueiros in motion. It's going to be a handoff up the middle. That's going to be Lindy Prescott. A pickup of about 4 yards. Stop on the play by Sheena Reed in her second season for the Vixen. Reed is 4th in the IWFL with 16.5 tackles for loss. Again, Utah going quickly here. That's Cox up the middle. Gain of about 1 yard. Cynthia Bryant making yet another tackle right at the line. 3rd down and 4 now for the Falcons. Cox in motion. They hand it to her. She rolls to the left, and let's see where she went out of bounds. They're going to stop her about a yard shy of that 1st down. So that'll bring up a 4th down and 1, and it's very probable that we'll see Utah go for it here. So Utah 4th and 1. In motion, Siqueiros. It's going to be a press guard again up the middle. Has the 1st down and then some. Down to the 34-yard line. Making the stop on the play is for the Vixen, Tilford. Yet another tackle for her as she's been busy defensively today. But a 1st down for Utah as their drive continues here in quarter number 3. Being under center, 2 receivers to the near side. Keisha Cox in motion, gets the handoff, cuts it to the near side to the 35, 30, 25, 20, and she's going to be knocked out of bounds. They're going to spot her a little further back at the 18-yard line. Pickup of 16 yards. Schmatz makes the tackle, but it's another 1st down. Hang on, though. Another flag. Looks like we're going to get a... ladies are going to get some water while the referees talk it over. So, hi to Sharon Smith, who's on Twitter. Wants to get a shout-out to her son, the special teams coordinator for the Vixen, Adam Griffith. A lot of folks watching all over the country. One of the things I was going to talk to Lori about, and I forgot to, but I wanted to mention it at some point in the broadcast, is I looked at the stats for the first 3 broadcasts, and you'd be surprised to note that 61% of our audience has been male so far. So a lot of people think that only women are going to watch women's football. That's simply not true. In fact, almost 2/3 of our audience has been male. Again, that's kind of a asterisk because the way YouTube measures things is a little bit different than how you would traditionally. It's not like knocking on the door and talking to everybody, but nobody really has a system like that. It looks like the ball's going to be placed back at the 32-yard line here. So the penalty is on Utah. The ball back to the 32-yard line. It is first down. Not sure what the call was, but Utah's backed up. Interesting thing that Lori mentioned was, yeah, you're in your 16th year in women's pro football. I'd still like to see the skill level get better. Well, think about the NFL, who started at roughly 1919 to 1935, and how the game has evolved. So it's a work in progress. Every year improves. You've got teams like Utah who can really compete with anybody. They are very athletic and fun to watch, and that will continue to grow. First down. Handoff goes to Prescott again, up the middle for a gain of about 3, down to about the 29. They might mark her closer to the 30-yard line there. Crystal Nenas making another big play. Second down and about 5. Prescott, and she got stood up. The defense was ready for her that time. That's Red Bryant again. So good on that defensive line. 9:40 and counting here in the IWFL championship game, concluding championship weekend. We had the All-Star game this morning. Carolina Phoenix winning yet another Founders Bowl. Bean looking to keep it now, and she's wrapped up on third down. Red Bryant again. Another tackle for loss to her total. And it's fourth down and 9 now for the Falcons. Again, they haven't punted all year, so there's not a big surprise what's going to happen here. My money's on Keisha Cox here. Let's see. That's who gets it. Runs to the left side. Good blocking again. Cox to the 20. Cox to the 15. 10, 5. Keisha Cox for the 4th time. Smelling the sweet grass of the end zone as Utah is pouring it on. 40-6. Keisha Cox with 3 first-half touchdowns, tacks on another, and it's all Utah here in the championship game. You see a lot of Utah fans made the trip. And again, part of it is you've got the Falcons, who have a pretty spread-out roster. Keisha Cox, by the way, is from Kansas City, Missouri. I know a certain family who might be interested to know that. One of the fastest players in the league, and now a 2-point try here for Utah. Throwing for it, and that is going to be caught over on the far side. It was Salazar who caught it, and the conversion is good. 42-6, Utah. 8:40 left to go in the third quarter. Falcons are rolling. We'll be back. Kickoff time for the Falcons, who have another touchdown to their total. It'll be Emmy Rainey to kick it off. Back to receive for Minnesota, Lisa Brown. There's been about 3 different players around the football, so it hasn't always been Rainey, and Rainey's going to squib that one. It bounces at the 32. On the near side, it's Brown evading some tackles past the 40, and they're going to mark her out of bounds past the 45, not quite at the 46. That's where Minnesota will take over. We've heard from a lot of folks, some folks watching at the bar in Utah. Have one for me, folks. Wherever you're watching from, we do appreciate it. It's been a fun one to call, not from a close score standpoint, but just watching this speed on the field for Utah has been something to see. Let's see what Minnesota can do now on offense. Hansen in the shotgun. Bunch receivers on the near side, offset. Hansen throws over the middle, intended for Brown, and it was almost an interception there.
Second down.
I believe it was Abby Buns who had a play on it. Apologies if I'm wrong there. 8:26 left to go in the third quarter. Again, full post-game coverage. We'll go down to the field and have the trophy presentation. We'll hear from the winning team. 3 receivers on the far side, 1 on the near side now for Hansen and the Vixen. Hansen dropping back, dumps it off to Bain, and Bain trying to get out of the backfield. She gets popped. Taken down by number 64 for Utah. That's Jennifer Court. Jennifer Court from Mountain View, Wyoming. I was just talking to our camera guy, Liam, at halftime. My first radio job was covering high school football in Mountain View, Wyoming, and Lyman, Wyoming. The people in Lyman hate me. The people in Mountain View couldn't have been lovelier. So shout out to those folks. Glad I got to call them out. I wasn't there long, folks, believe me. Hansen drops back, deep throw. It's dropped by Brown. And that will bring up a 4th down. So Utah is going to get it back here nearing the midway point. That part of Wyoming is an interesting. You think Wyoming, you think a certain thing. It's desert there. It was one of the most surreal experiences of my life. I lived in Green River for a year. It was cool. Punt is away. It's going to bounce at the 45, and that's going to be taken over on the far side, and it's going to be a run back, taking it to the house for another Utah score. It's Veronica C. Quieros. Her first touchdown of the evening. And this one is Utah's. 48-6. The Falcons came into last year's championship, and I'm sorry I didn't have a chance to talk to Coach Rick Rasmussen, this year. I had a chance to talk to him last year, though, and they came in feeling pretty good, and they were beating Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, that veteran leadership, they were able to come from behind and win that game, but Utah's not taking this one for granted. We've seen them here all weekend. They were supporting their other West Coast partner, the Carson Bobcats, last night as they came up short to the Carolina Phoenix. They were here at the All-Star game hanging out. They've enjoyed it, but make no mistake, they have taken this game very seriously, remembering last year, and they have poured it on. Emmy Rainey, the extra point is good. That's her 3rd of the evening, 49-6. All Utah in the championship game. We'll be back. Well, it's a party in Charlotte for the Utah fans who made their financial investments wisely to come here and watch this rout by the Falcons, 49-6. Utah looking for its first ever championship in just its third season. Looks like number 70 is going to take the kickoff this time. That's Bolding again. The kick bounces at the 30. Oh, look how fast those Falcons are. They almost got to that football. So good field position as the ball goes out of bounds for the Vixen to come up. 7:21 left to go in quarter number 3. We'll be right back with more championship action. Oh, hang on. Yeah, okay, we'll take our break now. Welcome back, everybody. Chris Sheeman back here at the championship game. 1st and 10 now for Kirsten Hansen and the Vixen at their 37-yard line. Looks like that's Bain again, taking it to the 40-yard line. Pretty good first down pickup for Bain. She was stopped eventually by Tina Mangum. Utah Falcons, most points they allowed in a game was 12 to Austin. That was in the conference championship. They won that by 44 points. Top scoring team in the league at almost 60 a game. They're around 49 right now, and we have movement. They scored 70 points 4 times and 80 points twice. Second only to the Vixen. The Vixen came into the playoffs with the fewest points allowed during the season. The Vixen allowed just 13 points all of the regular season. They gave up 34 to New York, and now 49 so far to Utah. But the Vixen are going to learn for this just like Utah learned from this last year. There's a lot of first-year players on this team. Hansen under center is one of them. And the handoff now, looks like that's... That was Bain again on the carry. Sam Taylor making the play for Utah. And it's 3rd down and about 5 at the 39-yard line. Hi to Lisa, who's watching in Cali. Giving a shout out to the Falcons, Caitlin Gomerman, and Coach Joe Wesley. Thanks to everybody who's been chatting with us on Twitter, keeping me company. Kirsten Hansen under center on this 3rd down. Minnesota trying to keep a drive going here. Quick pass out to Dvorak, and she missed it. So yet another 3 and out here for Minnesota as the frustration begins to grow for the Vixen. Let me correct myself.
4th down.
So it was Dvorak who was the intended target. Punt time again. Back to receive it. Siqueiros ran one back before, and that should be downed at the 41-yard line. So we'll take a timeout. 5:11 left to go here in quarter number 3. Utah gets the football back. We'll be right back. I didn't know if I had it wrong or. Me too. This is going to be a long finish if they keep putting it up like this. They've got their backups in now. Welcome back, everybody. Backups are in for Utah. We'll get you everybody who's out there as soon as we can. That was Abby Buns, we believe, on the run. So in at quarterback right now, I believe, is Galicia. Going to check on everything, though. This is when things get interesting. Sarah Galicia has a quarterback rating of 80.1 as the backup. She's keeping it on the option, now pitches it out. And that is Abby Buns again. So Buns on another run.
Third down and 7.
And now that'll bring up a 3rd down and 7. Trying to tell you about some other folks who are on the field. I believe Iono is out there as well. So Galicia, the quarterback, Iono and Buns out there. Iono goes in motion, gets the pitch here on 3rd down. Almost stopped in the backfield, able to elude one tackler, 2 tacklers, and finally taken down at the 46-yard line. It won't be enough for a 1st down, though, and that's a 3 and out for Utah. But again, let's see, because they don't punt. Michaela Menix also in at wide receiver. And it looks like we're going to have the first punt of the season, I believe, for Utah here. Never mind, they're bringing the starters back in. Let's see what's going on here now. This is an interesting formation. Bad snap there, and Utah is in some trouble here. They're just going to throw it. It'll be completed. The pass thrown by Emmy Rainey, who I believe was going to kick it, and a broken play will give Minnesota good field position. 2:59 left to go in quarter number 3. We'll be back with more championship football right after this. Chris Shaman, glad to be back with you here at the IWFL championship game. 1st and 10 now for Minnesota. Hansen and the Vixen. Hansen's going to keep it now, rolling to the right. Able to get around one defender. Flag is down as Kirsten Hansen taken down after a gain of 6 to the 37-yard line. But let's check the flag here first. Minnesota's backing up, so this might be on them. So a block in the back by Minnesota, and that's going to back them up again.
Still 1st down.
So it'll be a 1st down and long now for Minnesota. Shout out to Jared, giving me some props. Keep stroking that ego. That's what broadcasters love. You want to get mentioned on a broadcast, tell somebody how great they are. 1st and 15 now. It's a 5-yard penalty. Minnesota's back at the Utah 47-yard line now. Clock continuing the run here, 2:42 and counting in quarter number 3. We're past that 40-point threshold. We were talking about it during the timeout. League rules dictate that both teams can talk about it and go to a running clock if the spread is past 40. Handoff, or play action by Hansen, not biting on it for the Falcons, and the sack by Sam Taylor. Things going from bad to worse for the Vixen right now. Approaching 2 minutes to go now here in the quarter. So it's a second down and about 20. 21 maybe. Talked to Lori Frederick, the president and CEO of the IWFL. Some new teams coming in next year. Be interesting to see how far away is Carson from contending with Utah. That West is going to be interesting in a few years, I think. We're going to get a timeout, so we'll step aside. 1:26 left to go here in quarter number 3. The championship game is Utah's to lose right now. We'll be right back. So a second down and 21 now for Minnesota. They're back at their 46-yard line. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you here in Charlotte. The Sun, or as I like to call it, the Devil, who's going away now. Back to pass is Hansen on second and long, throwing over on the far side, and the pass incomplete, intended for Bain. Third down and very long right now for Minnesota here. Utah, for the most part, has gone to their second string on offense and defense. Trying to mention as many players as we can. Michaela Minix lined up, DB on the near side. Looks like Hansen's going to try to keep it, and that front line says, Jordan Willis got there. It looks like Susan Widdison made a play for the Falcons, as well as Casey Tanner. So a fourth down and long. Vixen again forced to punt here. And will they get it off before the quarter expires? They will not. We have played 3 quarters. Utah is 15 minutes away from a championship. We'll be back with the fourth quarter. You're watching the 2016 IWFL Championship Weekend. We're live in Charlotte. We're coming right back. Don't go too far. Welcome back, everybody. Fourth down punt for the Vixen coming up to start off quarter number 4. Chris Sheeman, glad to be back with you. Again, full post-game coverage coming up after these final 15 minutes tick away. Backups, for the most part, are in right now for Utah. A familiar thing with this Falcons team. Most of the time during the regular season, their backups are off the field or on the field in the first quarter in some cases. So the Vixen, first IWFL championship not going their way. Last championship they were in was in the old WPFL back in 2005. They lost that one as well. That is a low line drive kick. And it looks like it hit somebody. Did it hit a Utah Falcon? Minnesota trying to sell it, but it looks like it's just going to be down by Michelle Brown. Let me check on that. That's Michelle Braun. That's my Twitter buddy. I can't mess her name up. So Michelle Braun, one of those players who I mentioned earlier. Braun and Bryant both played in that very first tackle game when Minnesota challenged the New York Sharks, who were a flag football team at the time. This was back in the late 90s. Said, put on some pads, come play us. They did. And they would go 17 years before playing again until 2 weekends ago when they met in the conference championship. First and 10 now for the Falcons. I believe it's Galicia still under center. She's going to roll out on the option. She keeps it for a gain of a couple out to the 39-yard line.
Number 18, Liz Lane on the carry, tackled by number 91, Sheena Reed.
So it does look like we have a new quarterback. That's Elizabeth Lane who's in there. So apologies to the Falcons fans for that one. Trying to keep up now because there's going to be a lot of players shuffling in and out. Iono splits out on the far side. The pitch. And that, I believe, was Buns for a couple more. That was Abby Buns taking it out to the 41-yard line.
Number 57, Claudia Gorinsky on the tackle.
That's Claudia Gorinsky making another tackle for Minnesota here. Abby Buns, 233 rush yards during the season. She has 8 touchdowns as probably the third or fourth option for Utah. That's how good this team is. I mentioned they bring in their backups early quite often. Again, it's Lane under center. Handoff to Iono. And Iono goes nowhere on third down. In fact, she might have lost a yard.
Also 2 on the play, 4th down.
Stop on that play. Another tackle for loss for Sheena Reed, who came in 4th in the league with 16 and a half. So now do we have our first punt? Again, the Falcons haven't punted all year. At least not according to their stats. You know, sometimes things get lost in the paperwork. And they're going to go for it again. That's Keisha Cox on special teams, and she gets close to the first down, but I think they stopped her about a yard short. So Minnesota will take over. 11:40. Well, wait a minute now. Let's not go away just yet. They gave it to her. Wow, I don't know about that. It looked like that was a half yard at least. What can I say, Minnesota fans? Salt in the wounds. Everything going the Falcons' way right now. So Utah keeps possession here. Elizabeth Lane in at wide receiver. Buns is also in there as well, just running onto the field here. And it's Liz Lane at quarterback. Liz Lane, during the regular season, 3 out of 5 throwing the football. 62 rush yards as well. She could take off. And she does take it past midfield here. A good first down pickup for Liz Lane on the option keep. That's a gain of 5. Second and 5 at the Vixen 48-yard line for Utah. We were talking to the folks in the booth, Dana and everybody from the New York Sharks who were participating in that Vixen's championship game. Looks like Lane's going to keep this one as well, get closer to that first down, make it a 3rd down and 2 after a pickup of 3. Finish the thought. Evidently there were over 1,000 people in attendance for that Vixen Sharks game. Hopefully that encourages those two teams to play more than once every 17 years, because that's great for women's football. Cody on Twitter saying every snap a Giant hit forward for women's football, which is certainly true. The kind of coverage, like I said, this is the biggest event that I do, and I do college basketball, you know, a lot of things, and this is being supported. It's looked like they brought in Siqueiros again to run, and she got popped in the backfield for a loss. Guess who? Sheena Reed making yet another play. Sheena Reed's not quitting in her 2nd season with the Vixen. Again, for the youngsters, a learning experience for Minnesota, similar to what Utah went through last year, although the game was a little bit closer last year. Looks like we're going to get flags down here nearing the 9-minute mark. And looks like an illegal substitution here. So that'll back up Utah. And I believe it's 4th down. So we'll call it 4th and 8 now for Utah. Wow. Minnesota fans, you got to give Jared some love on Twitter. He said even as a Falcons fan, that looks short, that last 4th down. Well, they're going to go for it again on 4th down. Sometimes when it's going your way, it's going your way. Maybe they're waiting and just going to take a delay a game and try to kick it here. Nope, they called timeout. Okie dokie, 8:22 left to go. We'll step aside. 49-6, Utah on their way to championship number 1 here in the IWFL. We'll be back. Fourth down and 8 now. Utah back out on the field. Again, showing punt, but let's see what happens here. It's going to be Keisha Cox. She's going to run to the left and able to escape the tacklers. Keisha Cox picking up yet another first down. No answer for her. Where did they spot her? Wow, they spotted her way back, so she must have stepped out of bounds. So never mind. The Vixen's able to hold there and force Cox out of bounds.
Okay, folks, if you've got 841,
We'll take a break. Minnesota football when we come back. Welcome back, everybody. First down and 10 now for the Minnesota Vixen. Offense back on the field. Just one touchdown so far. Hansen looking to throw that ball off of Dvorak. It'll be second down. Kirsten Hansen connected with Marlissa Brown for a touchdown for Minnesota in the first half. Looks like we have gone to the running clock here, so the clock continuing to move even though it was an incompletion. Again, once the spread is over 40, teams can elect to go to the running clock here, and that's what they've done here in the championship game. I see a lot of you are sticking around. Stick around for the post game. We'll bring it to you, all the trophy presentations and the speeches down on the field coming up after we're done. Hansen airing it out, and a little too much air on it, intended for Brown on the far side.
Incomplete. Third down.
The Utah Falcons, what's their lowest scoring game of the season? Let's look that up. Well, they had a forfeit. So that technically counts, but it looks like the lowest scoring game was against Carson, 38-zip. They scored, I believe, over 50 points in every other game. Hansen dropping back, airing it out again, and that's over everybody's head.
Number 16, Lisa Brown, incomplete. Fourth down.
So that brings up fourth down, inside 6 minutes to go. Again, it's a running clock here with the score at plus 43 for Utah. Looks like Minnesota again will kick it here. Thanks to both coaches in this game, Brandon Palinka and Rick Rasmussen. That's a short kick, and it's going to take a Falcons bounce and be downed at the 45-yard line. Both of those coaches sending a lot of information to me to help give that information to you, the viewer. Depth charts, everything. It's been great to interact with both teams and everybody with the league all season long, or all weekend long, I should say. So we'll step aside here. We're approaching 5 minutes left to go. The Falcons on their way to a championship. We'll be right back. So Utah will take the field now. 4:27 and counting left to go here in the championship game. Again, the backups have been in. Looks like we got a new quarterback. It looks like Luis Bean is back out there. That's interesting. See Quiros also back out there. Bean's going to throw here, and that's incomplete. Lexi Floor could not come up with it.
Number 26, Lexi Floor, incomplete.
So interesting decision here for Utah. It could be, too, that Utah might want their starters on the field when they win the championship. That's one way of looking at it. I'm sure Minnesota fans have another way. Handoff goes to press guard, and she's going to be stopped right about at the line of scrimmage. It'll be a 3rd down and long again.
Third down.
Clock continuing to move now past the 3.5-minute mark. Keisha Cox also in the backfield with press guard. And again, it's Bean back out there. Bean with the pitch to Cox. Cox with a flag down, dragging defenders to the 50. Won't have a first down, but let's check the flag.
Cox on the carry, flag on the play.
So we'll check the flag here. As of right now, it'll be 4th down, but it's a personal foul, and it's going to go against Minnesota.
Foul on the defense. That's going to be a first down for the Falcons.
So a first down now for the Falcons. Are we going to have a 2-minute warning, guys? So we will have a 2-minute warning here. Again, in the IWFL, you can run a play here before the 2-minute warning, so the clock won't stop right now. Bean hands it off. Up the middle for a big gain goes Utah.
Carried by number 21, Lindsay.
That was press guard again. 1:39 and counting. So they didn't stop it. We thought we might have a 2-minute warning. We were wrong. Fine with me. Let's keep this thing moving, says everybody out on the field. The handoff, again, it's press guard. Nope, correction. That's Keisha Cox, and Cox gets wrapped up. That's going to be a penalty. Frustration boiling over there for the Minnesota defense. Aaron Tilford called for the horse collar tackle there. So 1:01 left. But all Minnesota has to do at this point is take a knee, and take a couple of knees, actually. Again, folks, stick around. Utah fans, celebrate in the bar, celebrate at home, whatever it is you're doing. We'll bring you full post-game coverage here from Charlotte.
Penalty on the field is a personal foul, horse collar on the defense.
So no surprise with the penalty call there. Well, the Minnesota Vixen got on Sports Center, had a season to remember, and they have a lot to be proud of this season. But this is Utah's day. Keisha Cox is going to run it to the left. They're not taking a knee. They continue to play. Cox is tackled with 46 seconds left to go.
Tackled by number 19, Aaron Tilford.
I see Liam, if we can get a shot of the bench there, they're getting ready to dunk the coach. We got the Gatorade. Rick Rasmussen is not far away from it, too. Back to live action now. Hang on, we have a stoppage with 25 seconds.
Timeout on the field.
And a timeout by Minnesota. So Minnesota, maybe a little gamesmanship here after Utah continuing to run when they probably should be taking a knee right now. So Minnesota's going to burn their timeouts. This is one of those things that I'm not particularly a fan of. Just take the knee. You've got the victory. But again, that horse collar might have played a part in that Utah play there. Nevertheless, 25 seconds away for the Falcons and their fans to celebrate here in Charlotte. Chris Sheeman, glad to be with you, as I have been all weekend long. Big thank to Lori, Kezia, everybody with the league for having me back my second year. It's always fun coming up here. It's a whole new group in this press box, and they're just as crazy as they were last week, so it's been fun hanging out with the guys up here and the ladies up here, and it's a good league. It's a fun league to be a part of, and I've certainly enjoyed it. Hopefully you've enjoyed some of this. So it's second down and goal at the 1 yard line as Utah, let's see what they elect to do here. They're going to continue to play football here, and it's a fumble. Fumble by Keisha Cox. She'll be taken down at the 8 yard line, and that should do it. The Utah Falcons in their third season. The fastest team in football has their first championship. There goes the dunk, Coach Rasmussen, and the celebration can begin for the Utah Falcons. They are the 2016 IWFL World Champions. Utah Falcons win it 49-6. One touchdown in the game for Minnesota. Kirsten Hansen tossed it to Marlissa Brown for the score. All kinds of scores for the world champions. Keisha Cox, 4 touchdowns. Lindy Prescard with a score. Luis Bean, the quarterback, had a rushing touchdown. And Veronica Siqueiros with a score late for Utah, who win it 49-6. As you see the Utah fans celebrating on the field. Folks, we're going to step aside for just a moment. We're going to go down to the field for the trophy presentation. As both teams, you see good sportsmanship there as the veteran franchise Vixen congratulate the newcomers, the Falcons. So we'll step aside again. We'll go down to the field for the trophy presentation here in just a minute. Don't go anywhere. It's the 2016 IWFL World Championship. We'll be right back.
Okay, thank you all for coming out tonight. I think the first thing we need to do is give these players a round of applause. So here we are, final game of the championship weekend for the IWFL. Minnesota Vixen, the longest running team in the IWFL. They've worked hard to get back onto this field. We are proud to call them our Eastern Conference champions. Sarah Kavanaugh is going to present the conference champion trophy to Laura Brown now. Congratulations. Y'all made it back here. We are so proud to have y'all back on this field. Y'all didn't leave it on nothing on the field. Y'all did a great job today.
It was a tough fought game. They're a heck of a team. We knew that coming in, and they played really well today, and we just couldn't hang with you guys today, so congrats to you.
Utah Falcons. First time I saw you was last year, your first year in the IWFL. I think you figured it out, and you're back here this year. Congratulations. Our world champions for 2016, Utah Falcons. Let's give them a round of applause. Sarah Kavanaugh presenting the world champion trophy to Hiroko Jolly. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody, again. Great game. Good job, guys. Good job.
First of all, I want to thank the Lord for giving me this opportunity to lead this team of amazing women and men. I want to thank my family, all of our families, our community they've given us so much support, and just so proud of my team. Our MVP of this game goes to Keisha Cox.
Your 2016 World Champion MVP. Let's give her a round of applause. Once again, your 2016 IWFL World Champions, the Utah Falcons. Thank you, fans, everyone, for coming out and supporting.
Welcome back to the broadcast booth, everybody. Chris Sheeman, glad to be with you again. 49-6, your final. It's the first championship in franchise history for the Utah Falcons. Folks, congratulations to the Falcons. That's about all I can say. What a game, what a performance by Keisha Cox, the MVP, and the entire Utah Falcons organization. Hats off to Minnesota on a great season. Want to say a couple of thank yous. Hey, Liam, why don't you just go ahead and wave to everybody? Liam doing the camera, just wave to everybody. Just put your hand in front of the camera and say hello to the folks. That's the guy behind the scenes there. That's Liam, who's been doing a great job camera-wise all weekend long. Big thanks again to Dana up here in the press box. We showed the press box dummies up here earlier in the game, and everybody with the IWFL. A great event once again here in Charlotte. So 49-6, your final. The Utah Falcons are the 2016 IWFL World Champions. For everybody here in Charlotte, my name's Chris Sheeman. Have a great rest of your Saturday night, everybody, and we'll talk to you again next season.